your second time here at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival, but this time you've been on track.
I have,
in
yeah.
Brabham from 1992. What's that been like to be back in that car?
It was a lot of fun, actually. You know, I'm always a bit nervous about getting back in old cars, but that was an important one to me, that car, because I qualified for my first Grand Prix in it, actually, at Silverstone, and I qualified the last Brabham in Hungary in '92. So, yeah, it was interesting times. Got me going in Formula One, and I thought I'd never see it again, but I've driven it. So, yeah, it's quite good, actually, that car.
And it completes the circle because, as you sort of allude to, it never actually made it to Adelaide back in the day.
No, the team folded after the Hungarian Grand Prix. They ran out of money, so that was that for Brabham. And but I was still test driver at the time for Williams, so I still had a job. But it wasn't. It helped me understand the sport, getting out there in the thick of it. But I was lapped 5 times by Nigel Mansell in the British Grand Prix in that car. So it wasn't terribly a successful car.
Well, a couple of years later, you were here in the Williams winning the final Adelaide F1 race by 2 laps. Yeah. What are your memories of that day?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, you know, the feeling when you come to Adelaide in those days was it was the end of the season. We only did 16 races. We ended up here in Adelaide, so everyone knew that this was the big go for it last race. And Michael Schumacher had already won the championship, I think. So really, it was just for the fun of it and recovering some sort of lost prestige that we'd lost during the season. So everything was up for grabs, and to win by 2 laps or something was quite an extraordinary experience. I never thought, you know, it ended the season for me on a much more positive note, which helped me follow through the next season to the championship year.
Now, in a couple of days, we'll be at Albert Park for the first round of the 2025 season. What are you looking forward to about Formula One this year?
I love it. I think Formula One has really exploded in interest and also competitiveness. There's so much that the pack has got closer. Definitely, you could see that last year. It's harder for drivers and teams to get a big advantage. So there will be stories up and down the grid of people not getting the best out of the car and then losing 4 or 5 places on the grid. It's going to be that tricky, you know, thousandths of a second is going to be important. So we don't know who's going to win.
It does appear, though, from the testing that the McLaren is going to be right there. They've got 2 very competitive drivers with Lando Norris and our Oscar Piastri. How do you see that battle playing out and McLaren's ability to manage those 2? Yeah,
I think we should caution against anything we've seen from testing. I mean, 3 days of testing when it was very variable conditions in Bahrain when they tested the cars. You're not really sure what the true form is of any of those teams. So, but they do look reasonably happy, McLaren. And if it comes down to a title fight between McLaren and between Lando and Oscar, then that's going to be a nice problem to have for them.
The big move of the off-season's really been Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari. What's your read on how he matches up against Charles Leclerc and what he can add to his legacy at Ferrari?
Oh, I think it's a good move for him to go to Ferrari. I think he's very happy to be there. And he knows that Charles is very quick, so he'll have to be able to get the best out of himself at his ripe age of 40, is it now? But he's a very determined individual. He has proven everyone wrong in just about every department. So you can't make any predictions about Lewis. And I think when he's in a race, he is very formidable. I think I'm going to go out on a limb by saying perhaps he lost a bit of qualifying pace, and Charles might be slightly quicker than him on the 1-lapper. But during a race, he just gets in a groove and off he goes. So he's still got all that talent.
Was that something that you'd felt from your own career, that that edge in quali goes away a little bit as you get a bit older?
I think you do see it a little bit, yeah. I think when you're in your 20s, early 20s, you have absolutely no fear and everything's on instinct. And then I think more experience can actually be a hindrance because you're looking for perfection, and it's very difficult to get perfection in this sport. and you've got to forget all the experiences you've had before in some ways when you're qualifying. It's just literally seat of the pants driving for one lap. And but it all clicks. Sometimes you get a good car, you get a great feeling. You go out of the first corner you come to, you can feel the cars planted, and you can get the best out of yourself. So it doesn't mean you've lost everything.
Now, Jack Doohan's starting his first full F1 season, but he's already in an interesting position there with Franco Colapinto sort of waiting in the wings. What do you make of that scenario and the position that Jack's in?
It's very uncomfortable for him. It's very hard. I mean, there's nothing, you just got your first full season lined up and people are talking about you being replaced. I mean, that must be very unnerving, because you don't know what the team are thinking, and you try to get some sort of indication from the team as to whether or not that's something you should worry about. But there's stuff that you can control and stuff you can't control, and I think that he will know he's got to do a job, and if he does it well, they'll keep him, and that'll be all sorted.
So you'll be at Albert Park with Network 10, but what does the rest of the year look like for you now that you're no longer part of that Sky Sports family?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be doing with broadcast-wise for the rest of the year. Probably not much, but stay tuned. I don't know, anything could happen, but I won't be doing any Sky stuff. I've got a film that's come out called Hill, documentary film, so look out for that when it comes online, and it's going to be shown in the UK in May, I think, from about May on Sky. But so that tells the story of my career. So I'm doing a bit of promotion work for that, and other than that, we'll see how we go.
Could you add another chapter to that story back in Teamland? Do you have a desire to play any other role outside of the pundit sort of role?
No, I don't think I'm equipped to run a team. I mean, I've got a few ideas, but the idea of going into an office every day, I'm sorry, I'm not work shy. I just don't think I could go to a factory every day.